Hello, and a warm welcome to Season 4 of Unmute Now, a season like never before, where we present Gen Z Voice. This is a youth production of our podcast coming out of our recent mentorship project. We invite you to engage with our young ladies as they join Unmute Now in raising the volume on the whispered conversations in our communities. Our young ladies will share their experiences with you through thought-provoking conversations and, of course, good crack. Come join us right here every Friday at 8 p.m. See you then.
Hello, I'm Claire and I'm from Zimbabwe.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rita. I am from Syria.
Hi guys, I'm Suha, Rita's sisters, and I'm from Syria.
Hi, I'm Debbie. I'm 16 and I'm from Nigeria originally.
Hi, my name is Gloria. I am also from Nigeria.
So today we're going to be talking about life in contrast. Now, girls, we're talking about our differences in culture and experiences here in Northern Ireland and where we're originally from. Now, most of us are not from Northern Ireland in the sense that we weren't born here. So it'll be interesting to see what some of those differences are between here and where you're actually from. So Rita, you can start us off where you're from and some of those differences that you've seen now that you're here.
Yeah, like I said, I'm from Syrian. So from the Middle East, there is a big differences between Middle East and here, I guess, because they are different culture, not just different cities or something. And there is one differences that I noticed that is here, and I missed actually, that here they don't have that much of social life or socializing. Yeah, really. You can't. Yeah, you can't just knock your neighbor's door and have a cup of tea. But back in Syria, we interact with each other. Yeah. For example, when you are down the street, you have to say hi to anyone who come across and ask him about their parents, their children. If there anyone sick, you have to check on it. So yeah, I miss that lifestyle. Yeah.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Yeah, but it's interesting that you've said that because I feel as if people here in Northern Ireland, say Northern Ireland compared to England, people here would say, oh, if you go to a place like London, the people there are a bit more reserved and laid back, and people in London are like, if you go to Ireland, they're all happy-go-lucky.
Yeah. No, she's not saying that they are not friendly. They're extremely friendly and nice people, but we don't have that much privacy in households in Syria. So if you're fighting with your sisters, all the neighbor will hear that. They will know that, and they will ask you, why were you fighting with your sisters? About what? So you have to say and explain or say anything about it. That's what she's trying to say. Not people not friendly, like they are extremely friendly and extremely nice.
But everybody's just involved in
They man their own business.
It's interesting.
That's true. Personally, I think when I first got here, I think one of the first differences that I did see was the fact that in Nigeria, you could say it's quite busy and not overcrowded, but it's just very busy. Because even when you're driving, you have people selling stuff on the road selling you stuff whilst you're in the car. Whilst here, you could say that it's not like that. That's just the thing, honestly. So I think that was one of the first differences I observed when I got here, yeah.
Well, I wasn't originally born in Nigeria, but one of the differences that I've seen in my culture and the culture here is, I think with regards to respect, I think we were talking about this a bit earlier. It's quite interesting where we're from. when you greet someone older, you would normally have to physically go low just to show that respect.
Could you please demonstrate?
Oh no! It's like a little curtsy for girls. You do a little curtsy, and you could never call someone by their first name. You're gonna get in big trouble if you call anyone by their first name, because you'd refer to someone as your auntie or your uncle, or if they're even more older, grandma or grandpa, even if you're not blood related. So that's something that I found quite interesting, where some people would call their parents by their first name, or more like your auntie and uncle. I've seen that's more common actually, to call your auntie or your uncle by their first name.
Yeah.
That's quite a difference that I've observed. Yeah.
That's interesting. I think, all those differences I've noticed as well. Where I'm from, the greetings, for example, how you greet someone, and even what you were saying about family relations, and how you have that setting up where every member of the family is involved in your life. So that's interesting. My own perspective would be religion. I don't know if you guys agree, but a big part of Northern Irish culture is, are you Protestant or are you Catholic? And now I never thought about either of those questions until I came here. And I then realized that actually, do you know what? I do have Protestant influences in me, because my granny, she went to the Presbyterian church in Zimbabwe, but she never thought, oh, I'm a Protestant. And then on my daddy's side, she was Catholic, my granny was Catholic, and so she had that Catholic influence. So I guess our family was Protestant and Catholic, but that was not something that we even talked about or thought about at home until we came here. So that was an interesting difference, and I think it's an interesting difference that many people come here and find.
Yeah, definitely. And what do you think about unspoken rules between here in Northern Ireland and where you're from? Is there anything that you're supposed to abide by that maybe isn't so vocal? Anybody want to jump in?
I was thinking about just not the differences between boys and girls, but let's say as a girl person, I have experienced it, that to a certain age, if you want to go out, you have to be escorted or something. I don't know, you have like an older member of the family or a brother, so you have to be followed by them to go out or anything. Whilst here, it's not the fact that people don't do that also, but maybe because I'm viewing it from that perspective that, oh, you must. Whilst my other friends that are maybe originally from here might not have to worry about that because their parents may know people almost everywhere. Do you get? Whilst our parents are trying to be cautious and help or protect us in a way because we are in a foreign land. So I guess that's their reasoning behind it. But that's one of the, you could say, unspoken rules for girls in my experience, yes.
That's interesting. What about you, Sia?
You can't be seen with a boy alone. We have this, like, until a certain age, you have to be escorted with someone. I think it's quite interesting because we are from different backgrounds, but we have really a lot of similarities. Like in terms of family, rules, and everything. Like even selling things on side of the road, we have that. It's normal for us. So yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What about you, Claire?
I would say I say education in one word. Explaining that would be the girl child in Zimbabwe, for example, and the boy child, how they are treated in education is different. The boy child gets preference because they're the boy. Whereas here, obviously, that's not the case. Everybody goes to school, and that's, the fees are paid for by the government. That's all enforced. But because in Zimbabwe, you have a setting up where you pay fees. In a family setting, it's likely that if they have children and they have to choose who they're going to send to school, because they can't send everyone, they're going to send the boys. And, it's I guess they're still very much in a setup where gender roles are enforced, in terms of women must do womanly things. They must follow the more maternalistic route, stay in the kitchen, look after the family. And I feel as if that's, not probably to the extent as it would have been in the past, but I still feel like that's still something that's expected of a woman. You're just going to be a mother and you're going to look after your family.
To just add on to like the education part of it, because I've noticed that at least from people that I know, maybe like friends and family, cousins in Nigeria and everything, like the importance, the value that people put on education back home, it's almost like, oh, school is the only way you can like maybe progress to be able to help your family later on. Whilst here, there's so many different doors to help you get to different places. So you could say, like in a sense, people are exposed to opportunities in a sense. I know opinions may differ, but I think that's one thing, because I think it's only recently that people have been like, oh, you can do makeup in like Nigeria, and you can do makeup and improve your skills and stuff. But like even still, education is the only place that can actually get you places, I think. So
I think it's a very interesting point that you just made. It's like I've heard so many of my, African friends, and they're saying, "Oh, my mom wants me to be a doctor or a lawyer." That's it. That's it. You're a doctor or you're a lawyer, and if you want to do art, that's useless. So yeah. So leading on that, then, in terms of the differences that we've just talked about and some of those unspoken rules, what are the pros and cons about each of these cultures? Well, more specifically Northern Ireland and where you're from. What are the pros and cons that you would say?
I don't know if that's pros or cons, but here you have to do everything by yourself. In Syria, whoever can do anything for you. Your sister, your friend, anyone, your father. But and that make everything easier, I guess.
It takes off a lot of things on your plate. And if you can pay money for someone to do your like legal stuff for you, if I've never registered in like school or in a course for myself. I would let my dad do it for me, or my mom, or even my bigger sister. So when I came here and I needed to like register in Belfast Med, I had to go there by myself and ask for something that I didn't know. So that was like, that was really nervous situation for me. But yeah, you can pay money and that would be really easy.
But in another view, I guess that will learn you how to be independent and how you manage your own things. Yeah.
Deal with
I
problems.
Guess that's the pros. Yeah.
yeah.
So you think here there's more of an independent culture?
Yeah,
Sure.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm agreeing with that. I'd say that I do agree, because when my mom had my sister, who's 6 now, and I was around 10 then, she said that she really struggled because she'd actually never, back in Nigeria, when it came to me and my brother, it was more like either her mom or her mother-in-law that helped take care of us. So she never really, most of the time she was just resting up, I gave birth, I'm resting up. So that's what she was doing. So she said that she really struggled because it was her very first time like doing everything by herself. So I guess that sense of like having family around, and I guess it's just because you're not back home after all, you're somewhere else. So I think that's a difference as well.
And what would you say is a pro or a con then?
Regarding that, I don't think there's a pro or con because it's more like a middle ground. It's just about working out what works for you, because
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
whatever you pick at the end of the day and it's working for you, that's a pro. But if somebody else does it, it's a con. So I guess it's that comparison. If you are comparing and you're thinking that, I'm worse off or I'm better off, that's when it becomes a pro or con. So I think that's why.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, if I were answering the same question, I would definitely say what you've said. I think it can't be either a pro or a con, only because who are we asking that question to? We're asking to people who have been exposed to a different culture. Somebody who's born here is not thinking, okay, there's a pro and a con to our culture, because that's their culture, that's their way of life. But because we're in a unique position where we are coming from different influences, different cultural influences, we have to pick out the right things. And I think often you can get caught up in a place where you're then, okay, what do I do? Do I do this? Do I do that? Can I act a certain way? My culture says I can't do this, but I'm in a place which says I can. So I think it's interesting to think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, you can't really have any pros and cons because we are in that unique position where we been brought up in a different culture and then we're now living also in a different culture now trying to balance life in contrast, trying to balance your own values in the situation that you're in. That's actually very interesting to think about. And okay, what about anything that's really interesting about your own culture, or you find really interesting about the Northern Irish culture, or that makes you giggle a bit?
I think one that actually came to mind whilst we were talking was, for example, if you're going over to like someone's house, let's say an auntie's house, because that's what we call anyone, an auntie's house, you're not, if they offer you food, you're not supposed to. So that was really concerning to me because I saw someone online saying that, oh, if auntie's a witch, why are we here? So I think that's one thing that makes me laugh in a sense because here you're free. If I'm offering you something, I'm pretty sure it's safe to eat, you know? So I guess that's a cultural thing that makes me laugh at times. So yeah.
I find that really annoying because I kind of want the food.
Exactly.
The unspoken rules that you say no thank you and then they'll probably bring you a glass of water.
I'm not
fruit,
hungry.
and then you just
The water.
What about you guys?
Middle names. Middle names. Like in Syria, you have your middle name is your dad's name, so you don't have a second name. It's Suha. That's it. It's Rita. That's it. You don't have the option to choose between names.
Okay.
So I think this is, and then when we came here, some people have like first name and second name, and I have a cousin in France that she named her son 3 names. So when he's older enough, like 18 or something, he can choose between those 3 names. So I think this is really interesting that we don't have to choose. Like I love my names. I think it's really good name. I think it's unique. Like there's a little bit of people named Suha, but what if my parents decide to name me a bad name? That would affect my whole life.
Yeah, I think in my culture anyways, it's a thing of respect where everyone gets a say. So my parents obviously they will name me and then your grandma gets to give you a name and then that distant cousin that you're never gonna hear of, he can give you a name. And then I guess maybe the more of the parents kind of choose what to call you, and then maybe you'll have a different name you use in school compared to the name that you're called at home. What about you, Debbie? Do you have like a different name that you're called at home?
Oh yeah,
at school?
I have. Well, Debbie is my 3rd name on my birth certificate. At least it's my 3rd name. So what my parents did was they did my first 2 names were gonna be the Yoruba names, which is the tribe in Nigeria. So the 2 Yoruba names was the first one, and then the English name so that I could use it. Well, I don't know why, because I don't think they planned to move here, but I guess it worked at the end of the day. So I used my English name whilst going to school and everything. So I think that, yeah, that's quite funny because when they were picking my name, my English name at least, they were going to name me Kate. But then they heard that my cousin's in Dublin. Somebody just gave birth and they named her Kate, and they were like, oh, it's off the table. So they came up with Debbie instead. So I think that's quite funny, the fact that everyone gets to say, so, and it influences what you eventually get called, I guess. So, yeah.
What about you, Claire?
Gates and for security. I don't know if you've noticed in African countries, they don't trust each other because they seem to have gates everywhere, you know, just at their house, just like a gate. Here you don't really, I don't think we have like gates or lock up like security gates. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the proper
metal ones.
Oh, we have ones. Yeah. Back in Syria, we have one. Like metal with like a phone to call the houses. So we are coming. You have to open the house. Yeah.
Yeah. I find that in a lot of African countries they have that, whereas here they don't. Because guess what? They seem to trust each other. Yeah, I think that's that.
The gates that Suha talked about help us a lot because we have many sudden guests. So
Unexpected guests.
will give you time to prepare yourself. While they are
Back up the house.
You get a cheeky wee clean before.
That's quite funny.
Change your clothes or something.
And saying cheeky wee, the slang, guys.
Oh yeah.
The slang.
Is it?
We. In
wee,
terms of the funny,
tiny.
the way I think
Yeah.
every time I've been like in England and it slips sometimes, you know, I don't intend to say we for everything, but my friends always find it so funny. It's like, oh, I just want a wee cup of tea or
No, but I love the slang here.
I do, I love that
absolutely love
too.
it. It
Yeah.
just, it's so cozy and it's very unique to Northern Ireland. Like, anytime I go to England, see my family members are looking at me like, oh, Gloria, what's the crack?
what's the crack?
What's the crack?
But you
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to say about your own cultures or seeing the difference between your culture and here?
Oh yeah, I was gonna add on when Sue and Rita were talking about unexpected guests, right?
Yeah.
I think it's quite a culture in Nigeria, at least, when it comes to like celebrations. Let's say weddings, especially, right? So if a wedding is happening, like let's say you've planned for 100 people, just be sure that 300 people will be there, most definitely. So those quick changes, you could say, you're hopping down the street to go to a wedding. I think it's a very funny thing in Nigeria because there's always a party. There's always a party. And I don't know, like, I guess it's a sense of community and like wanting to celebrate someone and be happy for someone. I'm not saying people don't do it here, but I think the freedom that, oh, everyone's invited. Come on, you know, we're here to celebrate life. So yeah, I think that's one.
Yeah, I think also timing.
Let's not talk about
We say African timing. Something's supposed to say a party supposed to start at 4. I guarantee it will start at 6 o'clock. And I don't get it. People, I'm like, oh, where are you? Oh, we're just leaving the house and it's 7 o'clock when the party started at 4. But that's just normal. And even people just plan. They say 4, but they know it's not starting until 6. So the people that come at 4, they help to set up the house.
We say people that came on time, they are rude. Why you coming on time? That's not normal.
here you're late.
exactly.
Yeah, you're late. Well, that's it for you. I mean, you come to, I was late to a wedding. The wedding's
done.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I think that's a good culture though when it comes to Northern Ireland because it does lateness. I guess you could say it's a cultural personality you take it in. But I guess coming here does help you be more punctual and get yourself organized better because it's funny to say yes, but you have to be early, like to important things. So I think having that culture for even like, well, I'm sure not in Nigeria, they don't tell you to come late to school, but like even to have it like strictly in school that, oh, you need to be on time and making that such a crucial point in society is I think it's a good standard, honestly. It helps. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And also, you're talking about education. I just find it quite interesting. Back home in Nigeria, you have different systems where you could actually go to uni at the age of 16, 17.
Yeah, tell me about that.
I'm not 100% sure about it, but there are like this particular exam that you can take. And if you pass it, then I guess you've kind of gotten the same grades or you study certain things for you to qualify to go to university at that young age, which I find quite interesting and actually quite cool because you could, for example, to be a doctor takes many years, but then thinking about it, if you started quite young, you could become a doctor much earlier. But also you do have things like sixth form before going to university. But I actually do prefer going to university around 18, 19. I think you're more mature, and I think
Aware of what you want.
aware of what you want, you know, because I'm 17 and I'm still not too sure what I want to do. So if I went to uni right now, I don't think I'm going to.
I probably would regret it. Like I'm 18 and I should know what I'm going to do because I'm now like going to do my A levels, but I'm still not sure which subject I'm going to choose. So I think I'm definitely not ready. If I can hold my university to like 25 or something, that would be great. But actually in Syria, like you have a standard exam, like you don't get to choose subject, you don't get to choose anything. You just you study this, you have an exam in this. your points decide your like future. You don't have to pick anything, and I think that made it easier from here. Like when you have choices and you have options, you just get lost. You don't know what to choose. But in Syria, it's a reality. Like you studied that much, you get that much of grades, you're going to that university, you're going to that major. I think it's much easier.
Yeah.
And that's actually really interesting. So, so would you choose your university course back in Syria?
Yes, you choose it, but you have like a range of points for like if I'm going to do medicine, like we have the full mark is 240.
Okay.
So if you're going to do medicine, you have to be above 230.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
So
that's a
it's
lot.
really high standard. So if you don't like eat the books, like not just study and revision, you have to eat it and like do a lot of like POC, like past papers and mock test. You won't be prepared. Like it's really hard, but it's give you like a bit of relief. Okay, you studied that much, you know what to expect. So yeah, I think that's
That's why you speak 4 languages. She's got the IQ for it. But an interesting question has come up to mind. You know, when we moved to Northern Ireland, well, specifically Belfast, we were coming at a time when Belfast was still becoming more diverse. And in my neighbourhood, I'm sure we were like the only Black family. And over time, seeing more people come into the country has just been something that is just phenomenal, amazing. And Northern Ireland has just been amazing at, you know, receiving people, immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, like the whole spectrum. So now we have that opportunity to kind of blend with the locals and share our heritage and our cultures. What part of your culture are you most proud of, and do you enjoy sharing with locals and people that you meet that don't know your culture?
generosity. I think like Syrian known of generosity and known of welcoming people. So we are okay. Like if we don't know you, if we just met you, we will invite you to our house and we will give you like some lunch and like
And you
a
have
whole. And you have to eat. It's not accepted that you don't eat. You don't like us if you don't eat. That's how we think about it.
Oh, wow.
So I think this is definitely the most like proud of. Like we know that we welcome people. Like it's we don't get like we don't choose from people. You know, we don't have that. Like it was the first time that we've ever thought. Like when I came here, it was the first time that I thought of this Christian, this is Muslim, this is. I'm sorry, I don't really have that much of religion.
Yeah, but they all like the differences.
Yeah, and we like I don't know that this is black, this is an Asian, this is we didn't really have that in Syria. Of course, we didn't have that much of diversity over here, but you've even from cities like as a city you have different cultures in Syria. Like we have like if you're like from Latakia, you're different from being from Tartus, or you're different being like from Damascus or Aleppo. So when we like gather together, it's just we don't point out that he's not from here. You know? Yeah, I think this thing would be definitely the most proud of.
That's amazing. Like, you're not prejudiced. You don't care about, you know, you really just care like on the inside and want to know them as a person than to looking at maybe outward appearances. That's really amazing. What about you, Debbie?
Personally, I love Nigeria. I love Nigeria to like the core, honestly. I'm so proud of it. Like every time I'm just like, yeah, I'm Nigerian. I do, you know? I love it, honestly. Like I don't think I can pick like one thing in particular, but I love the clothes. I love the diversity. There's so many tribes in Nigeria. I didn't know there were this many tribes because I only knew of like 3 main ones, but there's so many.
Yeah.
There's so I think the fact that so many people come together and then just makes it blend, you know, and I just love it. The food, everything, the music, everything. I love it. So.
Yeah. What about you, Claire?
Well, she took it right out of my mouth. Said food and music. And it's very interesting now, guys. I think you know that there's a rise in Afrobeats, for example. There's a rise in international music. Everybody's listening for music from everywhere. And I think that's so exciting when that's a beautiful way of sharing culture. I think music has been one of those most effective ways to do that, where, you know, I'm listening to Greek music, I'm listening to Spanish music, and that's been incredible. So I'd say music, sharing Zimbabwean music.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's been lovely talking about life in contrast, and we hope you really have enjoyed our conversation. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Bye. Bye, guys.